Geoffrey Cox was in Brussels with Brexit Secretary Stephen Barclay for discussions on the withdrawal agreement last week. However, yet no solution has been identified, according to the European Commission's chief spokesman Margaritis Schinas. There is now just days left to ensure a deal before a meaningful vote is held. Theresa May had pushed the date of the meaningful vote back, promising a vote on Tuesday, March 12, at the latest, in order to secure more time for negotiations. Mr. Cox told Sky News about his talks on Tuesday, March 5 with Michel Barnier. "These are very sensitive discussions. We are into the meat of the matter now. We have put forward some proposals, very reasonable proposals. And we are now really into the detail of the discussion." Asked if he had a text to take back to the UK, Mr. Cox went on, "I can't reveal the discussions. These are private and confidential discussions. But we are into the meat of the matter now. Read more. Brexit deal unlikely to be completed ahead of vote on May's deal." Brexit news. Geoffrey Cox has just days to secure a deal with Brussels. Image, Getty. Both sides have exchanged robust, strong views. And we are now facing the real discussions. Talks will be resuming soon, a European Commission spokesman said. Michel Barnier informed commissioners that while the talks take place in a constructive atmosphere, discussions have been difficult. No solution has been identified at this point which is consistent with the withdrawal agreement, including the protocol on Northern Ireland, which, as you all know, won't be reopened. Tony Hughes, CEO of leading global negotiation specialists, Huthwaite International, told Express.co.uk that Mr. Cox should be offering concessions to move forward in Brexit deal talks. Read more. Brexit news. Rotten deal means we'll never leave the EU. Brexit news. Michel Barnier has said he is determined as he holds talks with Geoffrey Cox. Image, Getty. Mr. Hughes said Mr. Cox has been said to have ditched demand for a Brexit backstop and date and unilateral exit clause, due to the stipulations being too blunt for the EU to accept. But in order to make headway with the little time left before the meaningful vote, the Attorney General needs to make compromises. Mr. Hughes explained, negotiations are about compromise for both parties, and focusing the commentary on what is mutually beneficial is of the utmost importance, but the UK has a clear lack of power and flexibility. The negotiations expert said. Read more. Theresa May to quit to save Brexit. Senior MPs reveal contenders ready. Brexit news. Negotiations are about compromise, says Mr. Hughes. Image, Getty. He added Mr. Cox and those negotiating the deal should be offering concessions in other areas in return, but as it stands, there are no further concessions to be offered without causing serious issue within Parliament. In an ideal scenario, before confirming the £39 billion divorce bill, the settlement would have included certain guarantees, such as no Irish border and the ability to trade freely with other countries, with the divorce bill being reduced without these concessions. However, with the figure pre-agreed before deal discussions could even begin, the UK has very little to offer in return for a unilateral exit or hard time limit on the backstop, rather than creating an opportunity for conflict. Mrs. May, Mr. Cox and the wider UK team need to open more opportunities to negotiate with careful and strategic techniques, until the deal is signed, sealed and delivered. Negotiations remain firmly on the table.